হ্যালো দর্শক, যুক্তরাষ্ট্রের নির্বাচন বিষয়ক অনুষ্ঠান ডিসিশন 2016 শুরু হলো। আজকে আমাদের সাথে অতিথি হিসেবে আছেন, আমার ডানে আছেন মিস্টার কবির চৌধুরী, যিনি কমিউনিটি অ্যাক্টিভিস্ট, দীর্ঘদিন থেকে কমিউনিটির সাথে কাজ করছেন। আমার বায়ে আছেন মিস্টার ব্রুস ফিশার, হু ইজ দ্য লিগ্যাল কনসালটেন্ট অফ দি টাইম টেলিভিশন and as well as he is an attorney and independent voter. Mr. Kabir Chaudhary, he is a supporter of Hillary Clinton. We are welcoming both to the show. So today there is there is a big bombshell few hours ago happened, and it's a breaking story now. The FBI stands by decision not to charge Clinton after review of additional email. You know, the FBI first they declared about a couple of months ago that there is no charge, nothing, and then they declare again that there will be a review of, they will reopen the email scandal again. Today they also have a statement, they will not go additional review. It's a big blast of news, and I think both candidates are energized. Hillary Clinton thinking, and their supporter, they are thinking, oh, we are clear now, the American people will that she is one of the candidates who don't have any kind of scandal. Right. And I think the Trump campaign, they also thought, oh, this is a big conspiracy against for Hillary Clinton against the Trump, and they are favoring Hillary Clinton. So what is your observation?
Well, obviously the finding that the 650,000 emails did not reveal any new evidence is great news for the Clinton campaign. You want your candidate going into the last 2-3 days of an election to not be under FBI investigation for something so serious. So that's wonderful news for the campaign. Whether or not that's going to change a lot of undecided voters at this point, in my opinion, I don't think that there are so many people that have not made up their mind. At first blush, you would say that this is big news for the campaign and bad news for Donald Trump. However, I think if you look deeper into this could actually create some momentum for the Trump campaign to go back to their script that this is a rigged system, and that the FBI at the last minute now once again has changed their mind to not press charges or not recommend charges. So this could actually draw or push more Trump supporters to the polls. So if I'm the Clinton campaign, I'm actually going to be very happy and celebrate this news, but I would almost be careful to put this out there too strongly, because obviously there are other investigations that are going on. The foundation is still being investigated by the FBI, according to news sources. So it's I think something that they have to be careful, and I think at this point the most important thing is to get out the vote, and I think the Clinton camp has a better ground game.
No, I understand, but could you please tell us or the viewers, what is the reason that 2 weeks ago all of a sudden the FBI came and say, okay, we are going to reopen the case, right? And it was a big bombshell in the in American politics. And then after 1 day ahead of the election, they are saying, oh, we are not going to review. What could happen?
Well, we talked about this, and I think if you put the politicians' hypocrisy aside, both the Republicans and the Democrats, when you recognize the fact that this, in my opinion, this reopening of the investigation was based on evidence. They apparently found an email file within the Weiner laptop that contained these emails,
right?
And the FBI director had made a pledge to Congress that he was going to notify them if new evidence came up. In my opinion, new evidence came up. He notified Congress. Congress reacted, and then I think there's a degree to which you have to say that perhaps they looked through all the emails and saw nothing that would change their opinion. And I think that Director Comey probably did what he thought it needed to be done in light of him coming out 2 weeks earlier and saying we're reopening this.
Mr. Kabir Chaudhry, what do you think?
I think as a supporter,
What could be the reaction of the Hillary campaign? Because you are a supporter of Hillary, you are a Democrat.
I think it's very positive, and it's like a relief. Now, voters cannot be thinking that yes, there might be a bigger bombshell from the bombshell that was out before. It's definitely a relief, and I agree with Mr. Brewster, but I politely disagree with the fact that Trump camp cannot come back and say, look, this is a rigged system again, because when Director Comey came and said, look, I'm reopening this email issue again, he was complimented from the Trump camp, from the Trump himself. Now, just because they did their finding and clearing the issue, and right away within a matter of a few days, you cannot go and say, look, here we go again, things are rigged in this system. I think it's a good situation. We just need to maintain it at the Hillary side, and wait and hope within the last 48 hours, people maintain their cool and turn into the voting polls and vote.
Okay, what about the say about independent voters, right? If I thought, when Mr. Comey come out with the new, that he is going to review all the emails and the case will be reopened, then President Clinton, who is the boss of Comey, and Attorney General also, they both criticized.
You mean President Barack Obama?
President Barack Obama, he was kind of annoyed, and he expressed his anonymity, and then also the Attorney General, she also expressed her concern.
I think the reason for being annoyed.
So if someone say, okay, the Comey gets scared, and that's what he closed that.
I think that's the direction the Trump camp has to go in. I agree with Mr. Chowdhury saying that I think it was wrong not wrong from a political strategy perspective. I don't think Donald Trump should have come out and jumped behind the reopening of the investigation as something that was was so fabulous from a backing, from a rig. His argument is that it's a rigged system. He shouldn't have come out and said, "Oh, this is fabulous. This is great that they're reopening it." He should have just been quiet. And I think the reopening of the investigation, if you look at the way the Democrats have came out against Comey, it puts them in a tough position now to go back and say, "Oh yes, this Director Comey is so wonderful," and now he's found that there's nothing wrong, because they came out with such force and such energy that Comey should step down, that he committed a crime, that he shouldn't be meddling in the election with innuendo, as President Obama
I understand,
said.
but the whole thing, the way they handle people, this make kind of suspicion that something.
I think the timing was very, very essential, because at this very close proximity of election day, I don't think it should have been released, or they should have declared anything, and it does have an effect. But I don't think, in terms of independent voters, they were not very swayed one way or the other with this email thing, because it's an ongoing issue. It was playing a role in the primaries, and it didn't really it didn't close the gap, but it didn't really shift anything for Hillary. So I think it was not something we welcomed as Democrat, or people in the Hillary camp probably didn't like it, but I do not think, or still don't think it makes a big difference, and I'm glad that it's clear now, and it's a sigh of relief in the Hillary camp.
Yeah, there is a headline in Politico, which is one of the most influential news outlet. Clinton gets late break in battle with Trump.
Yeah, again, it doesn't help Donald Trump to not have his opponent be under FBI investigation for something. If you're running against somebody in politics, it's great to have that person be under FBI investigation. That's obviously something you would love to have. If I'm running against you, I'd love for you to be under investigation.
Yeah,
the fact that she's not, and in relation to these emails, is a great is a great break for the Clinton campaign. There's no question. It's just whether or not that will affect independence at this point. And I agree with Mr. Chowdhury. I think that, I think at this point, I think most people have to some degree made up their minds, and all this the emails, the Donald Trump, his talk about women. I think that's falling on deaf ears at this point. I think it's a ground game right now that is going to determine the outcome of this election.
Okay, so Mr. Chaudhary, you are supporting Hillary, and what is the news today? As a supporter, did you read anything which you can tell the viewers?
I think what we are already talking about is there's nothing much going on beside just retouching the decided voters who are in the swing states, in the battleground states, to stay tuned and be energized and maintain the same energy they have been energized with. And there are surrogates traveling around the country and doing so, and she also has been traveling to the vocal points where she needed to be, and I think they're feeling very comfortable as Tuesday getting close.
Okay, let me ask you another question. Most of the immigrant community, like Bangladeshis, like Hispanic, Arab, Asian American, majority of them, they are supporting Hillary. What is the reason these people are supporting Hillary?
The reason?
Yeah.
Well, I think Donald Trump shot himself in the foot when he first got out of the gate.
Okay.
I think Donald Trump, when he first was, in the primary process, I think he was a little brutish in his discussion of the specific communities.
Mm-hmm.
You can talk about policy, you can talk about immigration, you can talk about the Muslim community without alienating them, wholly within the first 10 sentences of what you're saying. So when you say you're just going to build a wall and that the Mexicans that are coming over from Mexico are drug dealers, that's not specifically what he said. But when you say those types of things, the media is going to pick up on them, and then if they, as Donald Trump points out, the media has basically taken everything he said, and I don't want to say he's not getting a fair shake within the media, but he's given the media enough ammunition to blast him with his own words.
But Donald Trump is a very smart guy, right? Do you think the reason he's talking all this thing without any meaning he's talking, definitely there is some politics in it, and he is talking, I think, very intentionally to get some result out of it. What do you think?
If he's as smart as you want to give him credit for in certain aspects, I think being smart and being successful and being a great businessman doesn't instantly make you a good politician. Mm-hmm. I think politics and business, as we see, are two different things. I think Donald Trump, his success, whether that's going to be debated, whether or not he discussed whether or not he paid taxes, he filed for bankruptcies, but no one can dispute the man is incredibly successful within the world of business. Mm-hmm. When you, as a New Yorker, when you drive around New York, no one builds skylines in New York City without success and learning systems.
Right.
However, I think the art of politics is something that he has not entered into, and recognizing that every word, when we say it in the law, every word that you say can be used against you. This isn't a court of law, but every word that Donald Trump said could be used against him in the court of public opinion.
Okay, so we'll come back to you after a short break. দর্শক, আমরা একটা ছোট্ট বিরতিতে যাচ্ছি, বিরতির পরে ফিরবো, আমাদের সাথেই থাকুন।
I'm Bruce Fisher. No one chooses to be injured in an accident, but if you have been, make sure you choose the right attorney. My office is experienced at getting multi-million-dollar verdicts and settlements for accident victims. The consultation is free, so call today.
Construction accidents, auto accidents, accident at home, trip and fall, medical malpractice. যে কোনো অ্যাক্সিডেন্টের ক্ষতিপূরণ পেতে আজই যোগাযোগ করুন।
যে কোনো দুর্ঘটনায় গত 15 বছর যাবৎ অ্যাটর্নি ব্রুস ফিশার বাংলাদেশি কমিউনিটির জন্য সাফল্যের সাথে কাজ করে যাচ্ছেন।
Law Office of H. Bruce Fisher PC. Phone 212-957-3634.
Thinking of buying a home or refinancing your mortgage? Now is the perfect time to do it with interest rates at record low. Since 1996, Omni Mortgage and their team of professionals have been helping many like you and others in their mortgage needs. Call their mortgage experts today at 718-441-7000 or 516-441-7000.
দর্শক আপনাদের আবার শুভেচ্ছা জানাচ্ছি ডিসিশন 2006 প্রোগ্রামে। আমাদের সাথে আছেন অ্যাটর্নি ব্রুস ফিশার, এ লিগ্যাল কনসালটেন্ট অফ টাইম টেলিভিশন, এবং ডানে আছেন আমার মিস্টার কবির চৌধুরী, একজন কমিউনিটি অ্যাক্টিভিস্ট, যিনি হিলারি ক্লিন্টনকে সাপোর্ট করছেন। মিস্টার কবির চৌধুরী, দি ইস্যু উই আর টকিং অ্যাবাউট, হুইচ ইজ Donald Trump, he is talking against, immigrant, against the Hispanic, against the Muslim, and everybody knows that he's a smart guy and he's in the election, he's in the politics, and some people say, okay, he's a foolish, but many people thought, no, there is an intentional, there is a reason that he is talking about this people intentionally to get a result out of it. What do you think?
Living in New York, I have followed Donald Trump. I have been to expos where he was the keynote speaker, so I admired him to a great deal. And to an extent, I thought he would be a good president, but right after he announced his candidacy and the ground he made those points was extremely unheard of. I mean, unprecedented, and you never heard of it or expected it from him before. But I think there is two reasons why he did it, and if you followed, he had backed away from some of the statements after he made them. He tried to repair them a little bit, but that didn't go too well. And I think it was energizing his base, whatever the base or voters he was initially working with. That's one reason why he did it. And I was shocked the other day when I watched the 60 Minutes. They have interviews piled up on him since 1975 or 80s. And he's the same man. He doesn't want to listen to anybody. And, it's fine. You could do whatever you want, say whatever you want to say about an individual group or a religion. When you are a top position of a business, it probably doesn't affect you in a public place or to your business. But when you are running for a political office, in fact, to the highest, office of the land, you are to be careful and you are to groom yourself before you, utter whatever you're saying. And I think it was very hard for his campaign or his Republican Party experts to bring him back to where he needed to be. And that's what he refused to do, and he wanted to always be himself.
Thanks. No, just let me ask you another question, because you live in a suburb, not in the city, and you are a white guy. And no, I understand, yes, but okay, can you just tell us, give us a picture that what you are hearing from the white people and the suburban
Well,
people?
I think it goes into what Mr. Chowdhury just talked about, and I think it can be reflected in the fact that, as an employer of tens of thousands of people, Mr. Trump is, and when you employ tens of thousands of people, many of them minority, many of them Spanish, black, I'm sure there's plenty of Muslim, people who work within the Trump organizations. You don't employ tens of thousands of people and exhibit bigoted, homophobic, misogynistic comments on a daily basis. That's not. You can't do that. Run an organization in an effective way and be successful. Because what ends up happening if you are that type of person and run that type of organization, you get sued very quickly. And I think from the perspective of when you want to talk about how smart or not smart Donald Trump is, you do have to look at people's daily life. Because when this election's over, we all go back to our daily lives. Donald Trump will go back to an organization, again, tens of thousands of people employed, tens of thousands of people working for him, functioning on a daily basis. You actually, in my opinion, have to give somebody credit for that, regardless of how you want to characterize his awful statements that he made. I don't think they really reflect on how he would be as a day-to-day leader. Now, in the suburbs, what you see is you see a fractured America. You see an America that is, white, Spanish, black. It's there, but you also see an America that in many respects that is not working like it did 10, 15, 20 years ago. So you take Obamacare, again, it's one example. The Obamacare premiums have come out recently. The renewals have come out, and I think that is going to affect certain key states. Those premiums coming to in the mailboxes before the election day. I think that's those types of issues. I think are affecting suburban America right now.
Okay, so what do you think? Who are the supporters of Donald Trump?
I think mostly white Americans living in the Midwest, and those Republican states, maybe the Bush states, the states that have reelected President Bush second time around, but I think President Bush also was pushing the foreign policy agendas, which was not very friendly to Muslims or many people in this country. But he had done it in a very different way. He, right after the decision to go to the war, he would go to the mosques and invite people and say, look, Muslims are not the religion that we have issues with is certain people of this group, and he made those things clear. And I haven't voted for Bush, but I think I didn't have that sentiment or that feeling towards his decisions that he had made, or how he maintained his presidency or candidacy, and how he got reelected. So it is basically, in New York, most of us minorities, Muslims or Bangladeshis rather, are Democrats by nature, and this is this time around making a decision whether you're voting for Hillary or Trump is not any complicated decision.
Yeah, so today you could say two things. One, FBI stand by their decision that they will not review the Hillary's email case anymore. And the number two, there was the Republican Party chairman. He appeared in a Fox or NBC morning show today, and he said, look, if you see the scenario of last 2 weeks, you will see Donald Trump, he create the momentum. The race is very close, is very tight, and the result could change any moment. Or the day of the election, you will see there is a different result. What do you think?
I wouldn't call this election over until it's over. I think it's very crucial, and he might be right. It will turn down to the decision those voters have made for them to turn into the polling place and cast their vote. Until that happens, so the candidates or the party lines have to worry about who are actually going to the poll place, and how surely can they take them. And it remains to be seen. And I think at this point it could be anybody's game. But we would hope, based on the FBI's declaration and other aspect, Hillary camp is feeling comfortable. But I think we've got to keep our fingers crossed, as they would always say.
What do you think?
What do I think? Who's going to win? Let me get my crystal ball. I have
No, because the Republican Party chairman, he said he was kind of critic of Trump. Also, some Republican establishment and the bureaucracy.
Right.
But now the day is coming, getting close, and everybody is getting behind of Donald Trump.
I mean, as we said earlier, this election is a bit of a mess. There's going to be. I'm going to look at 2 states, New Hampshire and Florida. Who's going to win is going to be, as Mr. Chowdhury said, it's going to be up to the ground game. How many people are going to turn out at the end of the day? That is who wins elections, how many votes you get. I think the FBI this most recent letter could potentially, like I said, could potentially, to some degree, enrage Republican or Trump supporters and say, all right, we have to get out to the polls now.
Yeah.
That is, I think, I see it when I talk to people about whether or not, most people I talk to, it's about a 50% ratio whether or not they're actually going to vote for anybody.
I think the same will do for the Hillary supporters. Like,
Okay.
look, we have nothing to be confused about. Emails are clear.
Right.
Let's just go do it.
Okay, last point, which is 40 second. Trump and Clinton in virtual tie among key swing state. What is your comment?
I think this the intuitions of our people and their gut feelings are going to drive them. And at this point, I'm not hoping any more surprises. So whatever needed to come out is already out. People are going to sleep on those thoughts and probably wake up and feel good about one way or the other.
Yeah, I understand,
And-
but the thing is, we say about a month ago even, the Democratic side was so enthusiastic that the Hillary will be the winner. It's almost certain. But
Let me just finish the rest of it. I think it doesn't really matter at this point for us immigrants living in New York, in our communities. I would like to emphasize the fact that we have to turn in to vote. Even if we have, supporter of, it doesn't matter, Trump supporters, your vote needs to be counted. I think the last name, Uddin's, Muhammad, Ahmad, Islam, those need to be registered in this election, and I would also encourage in every election, including primaries, need to be counted. And I think politics is local. So I could only guarantee my vote and then hope the rest will come my way. Some people in the community are confused. They don't know their polls. I would suggest you go to poll site locators. Just Google poll site locator, put your
Zip code.
house number, address, and zip code. It'll tell you where. Talk to a couple of friends. Get a group together. Make sure you have no excuse for not voting.
thank you so
and,
much.
And we'll keep reminding.
20 seconds.
20 seconds. The election is going to come down to a battle between two concepts. The first concept is a sort of law and order, not anti-immigration, but people who want to have a more structured, closed border. And the Democratic argument of more porous, open, a more integrative system of immigrants and both people who come across undocumented and documented. And I think that's going to be driving the turnout.
Thank you so much both to
Thank you.
participate in the debate
Thank you.
and the discussion. Thank you so much. We are দর্শক আজকে এ পর্যন্তই। গতকালকে আমাদের যে প্রোগ্রামে একটা তথ্যগত বলছিল মঙ্গলবার সকাল 6টা থেকে ভোর 6টা থেকে রাত 9টা পর্যন্ত ইলেকশন হবে। আপনারা সবাই ইলেকশন কেন্দ্রে সকাল 6টা থেকে রাত 9টা পর্যন্ত ভোট দিতে পারবেন। আজকে এ পর্যন্তই। আপনাদের সবাইকে আবার শুভেচ্ছা জানিয়ে এখানেই বিদায় নিচ্ছি। খুদা হাফেজ। আগামীতে আবার দেখা হবে আপনাদের সাথে।